Rob Goodwin of YourBostonSports.com, along with John Corn. We are practicing social distancing today, aren't we, John?
Thank God. I've always wanted to socially distance myself from you.
Yeah, no, I think this is maybe the first time we've actually done a show from both studios. I'm in the Central Connecticut studio. Why don't you tell the folks where you are?
I'm in the northern studios up in here in Windsor Locks.
So we are using technology to help us with this pandemic, which is something I never thought I'd ever see. You hear about it, you read
I don't
about
think anybody ever thought they'd see. I don't think we could imagine what's going on right now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's bizarre.
I noticed like week to week a difference. I went to the store today, they get toilet paper, and I went to BJ's. We have a Costco, but it's a little bit farther away, and I don't feel like driving much farther just to get toilet paper. And they actually had some. They were pretty
Why
stocked up.
toilet paper? What is the
I don't-
hoarding of toilet paper? Why
Yeah,
not? I went to the store for my parents today. They didn't need toilet paper, but no toilet paper in the aisle. Nothing. Okay. Bread and cereal. They were very low on bread, cereal, and no toilet paper.
Yep.
So evidently people are hoarding those three things.
yeah,
In
yeah,
blocks anyway.
yeah. Now I heard Costco around us didn't have toilet paper. That's what I heard. BJ's is all stocked up, but you can only get one. So I like going to BJ's because they get the biggest size possible. Like two rolls of paper towels at Target just didn't do the trick for me. I'm going to be going
I
every
gotta
other.
say something about this though. You always hear about the one knucklehead that mental case that was sneezing on the food in the store, and you hear about somebody hoarding stuff, trying to mark up the. But 99% of Americans are just acting so exceptional. They really are.
I
Our
couldn't
leaders
agree
are
more.
acting. I am looking at leaders that I don't even like and watching how unbelievable. I'm thinking I am not even capable of acting showing this kind of tenacity.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. Did you
Well,
see the ship that went out to rescue New York today? That left from the military ship. It's literally a hospital.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so much going on. The whole country's mobilized. They're making manufacturers are making ventilators, and it's something really good is going to come out of this.
Somehow. Yeah. Now I heard one of the at least one of the hockey manufacturers is making shields for the medical community.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's distilleries making hand sanitizers, and it's kind of neat. Some of them are giving them away. There's one in Pennsylvania they're giving it away. They're not taking any more for it.
And I just noticed even week to week, the stores I went to today, there was obviously clear markings on the floor. You have to stay 6 feet apart, and people are just being generally courteous and being.
Everybody's cooperating.
Yeah, it seems like
you hear about that one idiot that isn't, but out of 1,000,
Yeah, yeah.
Some good stuff is going to happen.
Yep, exactly. So baseball, we have no idea.
No idea.
You and I have tickets April 19th. Forget about it.
We going to make a prediction?
Well, I happen to have
late May
from the commissioner's office right here. I happen to have the MLB agreement that was made between the players and the owners. Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah, they came to an agreement about kind of a framework of how this season is going to go, even though they have no idea how many games will be played.
Yeah.
So I can cover some of it if you like.
Yeah.
So service time is based on 172 days.
62.
Well, I have 72.
72?
Yeah.
Are they counting? Are they counting other All-Star? They must be adding 10 games somewhere.
Well, it's I guess a regular year service. It says it's 172. Maybe it increased flat. Maybe increase.
No, it's 162.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a player. So regardless of how many games are played, the players who's on the roster or IL is going to get 172 days of service, or 162 if that's what it is. And worst case scenario, if the entire season's canceled, they're going to get the same amount of service time they got last year. And if there's no season, then players who are 1 year or less away from free agency are free agents, and that would include Mookie Betts. So in theory, the Dodgers could get 0 at bats out of Mookie Betts, and he leaves.
So theoretically, if they don't play at all, they're still treated as if they okay.
Yes.
I can't imagine them not playing at all.
Right.
But,
and then all suspensions of 80 games or fewer will be served in 2020. if games are played, and if the season's canceled, those suspensions will not carry over to next year. And then it's just about moving the draft. The MLB can move it from June 10th, but no later than July 20th. It'll be a minimum of 5 rounds, although MLB can choose to have anywhere from 5 to 40 rounds. And then just minor, MLB will have the right to run a combine for amateur players in 2020 and 2021 if the league determines it makes sense to do so. And then the start of the international signing period may be delayed from July 2nd to as late as January 15th, while next year's signing period can also be pushed back. So,
did they say anything about how long the season would be suspended before they decided again? In other words, if they miss 100 games, let's say, are they still going to play the last 62?
They're not saying. And what they are saying is that MLB would put together a schedule with input from the Players Association, loosely. And a lot of fans don't remember what happened with the Red Sox in 1972.
They lost by a half a game.
They lost.
For some reason, Sox fans don't remember that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you'd probably tell it better than me. There was a strike at the beginning of the season, right? For a week and a half. Right?
There was a strike, and they picked up the season right where it left off. Okay, so some teams had played more games than other teams. At the end of the season, the Detroit Tigers were playing the Red Sox at Detroit with 3-game series. The Red Sox were a game and a half out of first place, and they lost. They lost one out of how'd that work? 1, 2. Yeah, they had to win all 3. Wait a minute, let me think. Half a game, back to a half. Yeah, they won like 2 out of 3 games, but they still lost the division because. Yeah, they won like game 1, put them a half a game out. Game 2 put them a half, and then they lost the second or third game. They ended up a half a game out.
Yeah,
even though they took the series.
Is it true that in that season that some teams played 6 fewer games than others? Some teams played
I don't know
6,
if it was that many, but
it was at least 3,
did not
right?
play the same amount of games.
Yeah, it was at least 3.
Yeah, that's probably the only season where if you looked at the final standings, you'd see somebody a half a game out of first place.
How in the world could
that would never
MLB
happen today?
How in the world could they have done that?
They picked the season up where they left off. That's all. They just it was April 29th or something like that, and they just started on April 29th. Whatever number you missed.
Yeah, I can understand the difficulty in redoing the schedule, but at least balance it out at the end. Do some makeups or something, because there obviously there were specific games at the beginning of the season that were missed.
One of the things that I always remember about that season was how Red Sox fans have this incredible memory of these bad moments. The Bill Buckner era. Well, a bad moment happened then.
Yeah.
Louis Aparicio was at first base. Yastrzemski comes up to the plate. I don't know if you remember the old Tiger Stadium. It was about 450 feet to center field. Mm-hmm. Yastrzemski hits one. He crushes one all the way to the wall, right, bouncing around all over the place. He's running to third base, and there's Louis Aparicio standing there. He ran back to third base because he had fallen down in between first and third base, and that ended the rally. And they lost that game. They won the next one, I think. And but nobody talks about that one. They talk about Yaz popping up. They talk about Bill Lee giving up that 2-run homer to what's his name in Game 7 of the 1975 World Series and all that kind of stuff. Bucky Dent, but fans seem to have forgotten that one.
I remember it. I mean, I was 8 at the time.
Aparicio. I remember I was listening to the game, and he fell down. He's running back to third.
No, you were watching the game?
No, I was listening on the radio.
Well, I remember. I see there's you can find articles and pictures online with that exact scenario. Was that. I don't expect you to know this. Was that late in the season that happened?
That was the game. That was that season. That was that series. That was like the second to the last game.
Oh my goodness!
The Red Sox came to Tiger Stadium and they had to win all 3 games to take the division, even though they're only a game and a half out.
Yeah.
They're game and a half out, and they had to win all 3 games to take the division. That's insane, right there.
That is
they lost that game because because of that, base running error by probably, I guess, both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I should have made sure that Aparicio scored before he ran to third. But anyways,
Right.
it was the fans seem to have forgotten that one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's interesting that a couple of decisions have been made already, regarding pitchers. So Chris Sale is having Tommy John surgery. I don't know when he's having it. Have you heard? Did you
So
hear
he's
he's
gone
had it
until
yet?
the middle of 2021.
Yeah. And so is Syndergaard for the Mets.
Yeah, I heard that. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wonder if any other decisions like that will be made. Given the fact that there's so much uncertainty as far as about the season. And then I read about they may decide some neutral sites. I assume if there are pockets in the country where the pandemic is when you hit I
Yeah.
guess June, July, if it's still really bad like New York.
What about like having spring training with no media or no fans?
Well, I would expect that.
Why not do that?
But I was thinking about it. They said they need 2 to 4 weeks. They're not going to start riding buses in Florida and Arizona again, right?
They would have to do it differently. They would have to do it, social separation of the players, and maybe have empty stadiums while they're having the exhibition games.
Right, but I mean, could you see them having starting up the Grapefruit League again for 2 weeks? I just don't see them riding buses again.
No, they'll have to do it some other way. Maybe they can drive their cars
or interleague
cars.
Well, no, I guess it's not so much pandemic related, but I just can't imagine them ramping up again and start riding buses from Fort Lauderdale to Port St. Lucie and all that. I just see them wanting to get in shape to start the season and just go.
Maybe they'll just start playing.
Yeah, I would think
that's what they did in 1995. Remember, they had the strike the second half of '94 all the way in. They didn't have spring training in 1995.
Sure.
The season started in the middle of July. Remember?
Yeah.
Or June.
So I don't know what they did, if they just had training and intra squad games for a couple weeks.
They didn't have spring training. No way. They weren't playing at all until the middle of the season, and they played half the season.
Mm-hmm.
So evidently they can do it.
Yeah.
So
I just don't see them starting up the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League all over again. I just don't.
I don't see this going into May, June, July. I mean, I don't know. They say out in Seattle, it's already. I don't know what they mean by peaked, but I guess that means there's less and less.
Yeah.
But
I know that here in
looks
Connecticut,
like it has a lifespan of about 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Virus. So
No, I understand. Here in Connecticut, they are hoping to see it peak the second week of April.
Yeah.
And then start. But the question is, once it peaks, how fast do the numbers of new cases diminish? That's the question.
Well, the what's her name? Breaks. The lady in the task force there.
Yep.
She said China and Hong Kong and South Korea are pretty much it's over, but you can't really compare South Korea and America. It's two different types of countries. But
right.
If America follows the same model, it's about an 8 to 10 week. It's about an 8 to 10 week cycle. Now, it could last longer in America because there's pockets of America like New York City. There's pockets of America like Wyoming.
Sure.
Sure. It's like two different countries. But if it follows the same model as South Korea and China, the lifespan of the virus is 8 to 10 weeks. But we don't know yet because it hasn't happened yet. They're learning as they go.
Right.
Because in Europe, it doesn't seem to have any end to it.
Yeah,
they're just getting massacred over there.
I know, and Italy with the age of the population to begin with, it puts them behind the 8 ball.
Land right now, England.
Yeah.
So I guess depending on where you are.
So, I never expected to have coverage of a pandemic on yourbostonsports.com. I never expected that.
I know it's everywhere you look, somebody's talking about it. I mean, it's the most visible news thing I ever saw.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's a scientist now. You ever notice that? Everybody you talk to knows. Well, 70% of the population is going to get it. This is going to happen. They don't know.
Well, I mean, I several people have sent me on Facebook a message with an audio recording from a woman from China explaining. I don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
I assume. I mean, I listened to it. It sounded like it was good information, but I And there's ibuprofen. People died because they took ibuprofen and hadn't had coronavirus. And the FDA says, no, it doesn't have anything to do with ibuprofen. There's a lot of, you have to expect a lot of news that's
The only
really
things we're certain
not
about is, number one, we're doing everything we can. Number two, social separation, that kind of thing.
right.
And number three, it does seem to have a life cycle to it. It seems to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's why everybody's so panicky about this, is because the smartest and most powerful people in the world can't do any more than you and I can. Really, not really, except we're going to ride this thing out.
Sure, and try to treat the people that have it.
Right.
And get the equipment and get the
our medical people are amazing people, aren't they?
Get the supplies for the healthcare workers that are so on the front lines more than they've ever been. More than they've ever been.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Great people.
But what you said, also what you said is, I experienced it today going to the store. I mean, people are being genuinely courteous and careful, about interacting with, I had people apologize because they walked too close to me. It's like, we weren't that close, and they're trying to do the same thing I am.
At work, they cut my hours down to 16 hours a week for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to keep me on they're doing that. They did it to a bunch of people, and nobody's complaining about it.
Yeah.
Everybody said, you know what, we got to do what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a freeze like in the country right now.
Oh yeah.
Economically, as well as So no, I don't see anybody complaining that there might not be any baseball for the first couple months. I don't see anybody complaining.
Right.
You and I were going to go April 19th. We know we're not going because there's something bigger than that going on here.
Oh yeah.
Might be going to a game is not important.
Well, I'm obviously
kind of like we're sort of like redirecting our priorities.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm working from home. And it's like, I look forward to going to see the Red Sox play, but at this point, you got to take care of business.
That's right.
Yeah. And so your family, I'm sure, is hunkered down the same way.
Yeah, everybody's good. I got two elderly parents, but they're doing good. I just I went shopping for them this morning, and they're they're doing good.
Well, I want to make an offer to our viewers out there. So we've got a ton of videos on YouTube. We invite you to check out our channel. Obviously, it's Your Boston Sports, and if I guess maybe every couple of days I'll post a video that we did in the past. I think I posted one of our first videos with you, me, and Flanagan, who's not here today. That was our show from July of 2011. And I think I also posted our recap of the 18 World Series championship team. So I think I'll do more of that. We look forward to hearing everyone's experiences and what their thoughts are, baseball and not, right? And there was one other thing I was going to say. We're going to try to make this a podcast, and we're also going to try to make it available on Alexa. So if you have Amazon Alexa, you give it a try. I believe it's on Google Assistant. So you can say, listen to Your Boston Sports podcast using your Google phone. And I'm not sure about Siri. We're going to work on Siri. So if somebody wants to try it on Siri, this show will be up at some point in the next day or two. So we're trying to extend our reach while we have some extra time.
Any predictions when the baseball season will start?
Boy, I would say no sooner than the middle of May. What do you think?
I have tickets to see the Houston Astros and the Red Sox at Fenway May 24th. I'm hoping. I'm going to say there's a 50-50 chance I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And I also got tickets to see the Cardinals and the Red Sox at the end of June. I'm pretty certain. I'm pretty certain I'll be there.
Right, and then you and I in August against the.
I going in August. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's that against? I forget.
Oakland.
Because the Indians in April, which is.
In fact, I've been watching a lot of movies lately because I can't. Sometimes I just can't take any more of the news. I watched one of my favorite baseball movies last night, Moneyball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was done well. It was entertaining. Yeah.
Well, the book is phenomenal.
I never read the book.
Go on Amazon and just get yourself a used copy of it. That might not be a good idea because of the coronavirus. But I'm sure you can get a used paperback that you could use Clorox wipes. And the book is great. The book is fantastic. Yeah. And by the way, so Rob Manfred said that the investigation of the Red Sox is complete. Mm-hmm. He said he'll release it before the season begins.
I don't think there's anything on them. Right
Some
away.
people think
Yeah.
there was some minor stuff, possibly,
Yeah.
maybe no worse than anybody else. I don't know.
I mean, a new guy isn't gonna come into to an organization like that and completely implement something like that onto the. I mean, this was a network of the whole organization, the whole Houston organization was involved in this. That's not going to happen overnight with
Right. You
some
mean core?
outsider coming in. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's he going to do? Walk up to John Henry and all those guys and tell them, look, I got this way of cheating. Do you want? Well, we really didn't hire you for that, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. I just don't see that happening. Do you?
Right. No, I don't. I don't.
Not quite that way. I mean, maybe
No.
he implemented some of his ideas. You know, uh, I don't know. It sounds too bizarre for me. But of course, over the last couple of weeks, bizarreness shouldn't surprise me.
True. True. Well, maybe he fine-tuned the legal aspect of stealing signs. Who knows?
I want
You
to.
know.
I want to see how people can. You're going to see somebody somewhere is going to have a garbage can in one of
Oh yeah.
the.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Hey, maybe this coronavirus and all the stuff we're going through. Maybe people have forgotten about this cheating scandal. Maybe they don't care anymore.
That's what I was just thinking. I was going to ask you if you thought that maybe bigger things to worry about than booing
Yeah,
the
there are
Houston
bigger things
Astros.
going on.
Yeah.
Normally I'd be disappointed if I was gonna if I bought a Red Sox ticket and I can't go to a game. I no more. I'm not. I don't care. I just want this thing to. I want this thing to resolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny how your priorities change when a real crisis happens.
Absolutely. And this is about as real as it gets. This is
This
as
is
real as it
something out
gets.
of a novel, a
Yeah.
Tom Clancy novel or something like that.
Yeah.
Some virus comes out of China and cripples Europe and America. This is something you read out of in some kind of science fiction novel.
Yeah. Now, I have coworkers that are in other countries across the pond and in India. I know that some of them
Mm.
watch and listen, and their infrastructure as far as work from home is not like ours. They don't have the bandwidth that
Yeah.
we do. So I know that they're all kind of muddling through and getting along, and it's like I said, their infrastructure in some cases isn't quite as robust.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine in Central America, same thing. Another coworker, but they're making do and they're getting their job done and as best as they can, like us.
Oh, this friend of mine has a son. Him and his wife live in Hong Kong, and they said it's completely, as far as they know, there's no known cases of it
Really?
right in Hong Kong. So, and they're very heavily populated. So, this does have a beginning and this does have an end to it somewhere.
Yeah. Now, how severe was? I mean, everything's relative. But how severe was it in Hong Kong? Did they tell you?
I don't know. I imagine they had it though.
Yeah.
They. I know China and South Korea had it, and they're 95% up and running now.
Right. Now I heard China had 54 new cases, but they're all imported.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not people who lived in Wuhan or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they got to make sure those people get quarantined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Italy's the mystery. It doesn't seem to be doing nothing but getting worse there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, 900 some people died today.
Mm,
Did I hear that right?
something like that. It was 700 the other day.
Yeah.
Terrible. Well, we're thinking of us and everyone else in the whole world that are having this issue. And,
I know. I keep saying
have it
nobody
worse than us.
keeps talking about it. I'm sick of hearing about it, but here I go. I just spent the last 15 minutes talking about it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it?
Well, you take in the news, you take in the information you get, and it's you learn about how it's different elsewhere. Some places worse, some not, and we are all in this together. But as individuals, we're like you said, the experience that you've had and what I experienced with people, trying to do the right thing.
So any predictions for the season? Like who's going to win the division, that kind of thing?
The shorter the season is, the more surprising the results might be.
True.
I got a friend in Florida. Hey, Joe, Orioles fan, right? I said, go Orioles. Nothing would make me happier than to see them win.
Why not?
Get in postseason, be competitive, because the fans deserve it. Same thing with the Pirates.
Tampa.
Tampa. Well, Tampa.
Tampa could win it.
true, but I'm saying
Oakland. Oakland. What about Oakland?
Oakland. I mean, the fans of teams that are really good fans and the teams haven't won in a very long time.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the ones I'm thinking about. Short season, go for it, guys.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Milwaukee.
Imagine if San Diego Padres won the World Series. Something like that happened.
Yeah, asterisk.
This is in baseball, but how about Tom Brady leaving? What happened? What do you?
I
Nobody seems-
almost forgot.
Is that a was that? It looks like something personal happened. He just wasn't happy there anymore. He still wants to play.
I think he wanted another challenge. You know, he got a 2-year deal. I think they offered him the same money for 1 year at a time. He got a 2-year deal with 9 extra million. I think he wanted another challenge, and he's ready to just, try something else for a couple of years and hang it up. That's what I think. But I mean, do you think that he's going to play a full season without injury? Can you imagine? They roll the dice with 23 million, and then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you know what?
Brady, they'll make that 23 million the first televised.
Yeah.
Brady's Brady,
Right. Well, and season ticket sales too.
I mean, geez, he's gonna. I mean, yeah. I mean, the whole country's gonna be watching him his first game.
Oh, I will be.
Yeah.
Tom
Brady
Brady
in a uniform that's not the Patriots? People that never watched a football game before are going to be watching that.
Yeah. I mean, he'll always be a Patriot, obviously.
Yeah.
But can you imagine?
It's like Carl Yastrzemski playing for, Baltimore or something. It's just. Yeah.
Don't you think that something's going to happen to make Belichick look like a genius? I mean, he always gets rid of somebody a year early, and it turns out it works. So for some reason, I hope nothing happens to Tom Brady to make what I just said come true.
It could,
but he gets rid of he gets rid of him a year early rather than a year late, a year too late. I don't know. It's very interesting. That's big. That's big though. Well, think of how many people that work for the teams, sports teams that are just shut down, concessions and, regular folks that work for those teams, hockey, basketball, now baseball, you got nothing.
The thing with this though, economically, okay, this is different than an economic disaster. This is like a natural catastrophe, like an earthquake or a tsunami or something.
Right,
seriously.
Right.
And when this eventually corrects itself, the economy is going to recover very quickly.
Yeah.
This isn't just a lot of. I'm a title searcher, and I'm looking at it right now. I got in a manila folder here, about a quarter of an inch thick of just Bridgeport searches. I'm going to have to do whenever I can get down there. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, everything just bottled up. It's going to be like turning on a fire hose,
Yeah.
So I think these people have their jobs back. The only thing that bothers me is like a restaurant owner, and the restaurant literally folds,
right?
Because they just can't, what's going to happen to them?
Yeah. Now I heard another thing. This is a couple weeks ago. Like we're 3 to 4 weeks away from knowing everybody's true hair color. So like, is that your hair color? Your true hair color?
Yeah, I put gray in it every morning. Yeah.
When's your next haircut? That's the other question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it myself.
I'm not coming over.
Live like a troll. Oh boy.
I'll tell you, crazy times, crazy times.
Yeah, I feel bad for the small business owner. Like I went to get a pizza last week, and the lady there that owns it, she says, we're not going to make it. We're just doing takeout. This is a sit down. It's an Italian restaurant. They people sit down, they order a meal. A restaurant like that can't function on takeout.
Yeah,
it can't sustain itself. So
yeah, this is Windsor Locks. Is it Windsor Locks?
Yeah, Pizza Palace in Windsor.
Plug the name of the restaurant.
Pizza Palace in Windsor Locks.
Pizza Palace in Windsor Locks.
So everybody go get a pizza in Pizza Palace in Windsor Locks. They're doing takeout.
Well, and order your 2-liter Coca-Cola too, right?
There you go.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah. Me and a friend of mine were talking this morning. When this is finally over, we're all gonna go out to eat at a restaurant, and we're each gonna leave them $100 tip.
Yeah.
Just to help them out,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, them and the healthcare workers. Oh man,
Yep.
heroes.
Heroes, total heroes. Yep.
Yep.
All right, John Corn, thanks for joining me today. It's March 28th, 2020. We'll never forget these times, and share with us your stories, pandemic related, baseball related, whatever, on Facebook, on Twitter. We're on Instagram as well. Try our podcast on Alexa, try it on Google Assistant, try it on Siri. We'll see if we can get all those up and running. So thanks again for joining me, John Corn. Have a great day and be safe. Hope your
Go
family stays
Orioles.
healthy and safe.
Take care.
All right, you
Hey.
too.